Hello, everybody. My name is Leroy Montgomery, 33 years of age. If you're watching this video, it's because I've been selected for the PTSD Awareness Challenge, where you do 25 push-ups for 25 days, and I guess you got to elect somebody else for the challenge. PTSD. Well, first off, let me start. Bill Harden picked me for this challenge, and thanks, Bill. Uh, he selected me for it. He was my battle buddy when I was in the Army. Still a good friend. Uh, Me and him served in 511 Military Police Company together. He was, I forget what platoon he was with. I was with First Platoon. We deployed out of Fort Drum, went to Diwania, Al Qud. My platoon went to Diwania. I went to Diwania, Iraq. His platoon went to Al Qud, Iraq. Um, I guess two different provinces. I can't remember everything clearly. So my platoon satellited out. Then halfway toward the end of the deployment, like 15 months into it, we all linked back up, and then went back to Fort Drum, and everybody kind of went their separate ways. And then I ended up in after that Daegu, South Korea, and that's where he became my battle buddy, and that's where I really got to know him. He's a real cool guy. He's been through a lot, and he's an honest dude. It's nice to see that he's actually been doing pretty good. Married the love of his life, has beautiful children and all that, embracing God. He's doing good. As far as my background, I spent 5 years in the Army as a military police officer. Um, First, well, trained in Fort Eustis, Virginia, or not Fort Eustis, Fort Leonard Wood, Virginia. Then I got stationed at Fort Drum, did a deployment, came back to Drum, went to Daegu, South Korea, and then after that, that's when I went to Fort Eustis, Virginia, so I finished out my time. And then back home to Cincinnati, Ohio, to Fort Couch. Now I'm actually working and keeping things together. As far as PTSD is concerned, I've never been diagnosed with it. I do deal with a lot of anger issues, but I mean, honestly, who doesn't? World's a crazy place. Um, I came back to Cincinnati, Ohio in 2012. Uh, I start I started dealing with a lot of stuff coming back to Cincinnati. I think I took a hiatus after a year of being here and went to Cape Town, South Africa, working as an English teacher. More to the story, but that's what I did. Uh, Came back and then became a police officer with the VA. Did that federal police and did that for 5 years, and then ended up switching over to public affairs as an outreach specialist. Don't ask me how that's going right now. I'm still learning it. Right now, we're in the midst of a pandemic, so that kind of put a lot of things on the back burner. So, taking the opportunity to go back to school and working on my hobbies, which is customizing figures right now. Uh, I entertain the idea of making videos, but as you can see from the quality of this camera, it's a work in progress. We'll get there. But as far as PTSD is concerned, like I said, I don't think I ever experienced anything really traumatic when I was in the military. I mean, I remember doing a mission in first platoon with I think it was first squad, where we rode out to to the IP stations, and the station had an IED buried on the outside of it. And when it went off, it hit the third truck behind me. I was lead truck. Nobody got killed or injured. I guess they buried it too deep or it was faulty. I don't know. But nah, that didn't bother me. I think I was so used to going through the mission briefings and constantly going over this whole thing of like what everybody's job was if something should happen. Like, if you lead truck, second truck move out the way, back up, hook up for tow, pull it out. So I think when that happened, that's all I was thinking. All right, it's like, all right, this is real, this is going on. All right, well, Sergeant, what's my next step? We still be doing, we hooking up for tow, what's going on? But that didn't go according to plan. So as far as actually having a traumatic experience, years after being out of the military, I was in downtown Cincinnati, bar back in this bar, and I'm not really gonna go deep into the story, but I ended up getting into a fight with a dude down there who I didn't know had a knife on him. So motherfucker ended up stabbing me, like slashed me across the chest and got me twice in the ribs. I didn't know I was stabbed because I was so pumped up on adrenaline, fighting him, bounced him off somebody's car, and thank God I didn't have to pay for that. But that situation ended, and I think the only thing I experienced after that was anger. I mean, I was really pissed. And what it was is that leading up to that incident, I've always been one of those people. It's about situational awareness, attention to detail. I mean, that's what the Army instills in you. Attention to detail. Don't fuck up. Like, pay attention to what you're doing constantly. And when I got out of the military, I felt like I was still embodying a lot of that. That constantly being aware of your surroundings, constantly watching people. You're damn near doing a risk assessment everywhere you go for whatever reason. And to this day, I'm still like that. And it's been 10 years, I think. But no, that night I had got this car, and it was a 2006 Santa Fe. I was so obsessed with getting this damn car because in South Korea we had them as patrol vehicles. So I was like, this is pretty comfortable riding and all that. And back in them days, I was on the mid-size SUV kick. Uh, First car being a damn Honda, which everybody called a soccer mom car. Whatever. It did a good job for me. So in any case, I was kind of admiring my little achievement acquiring this vehicle, and got lax because I got used to being in this bar or whatever, and ended up having to deal with somebody and all that. I wasn't really quite there or really paying attention to it too much, and then the guy was older, so I kind of took him as a light low risk threat. So in case that shit happened, and then that's what I felt from that anger. It was this whole thing. I think I've always had anger. I mean, that's no secret. If you know me, you know I get pissed off. I do. I take things personal, seriously, and I think for good reason too. I mean, uh, I'm not one of those. I don't know. I guess for me, I've always been one of those kind of people. Like when I was younger, people used to always mess with me. It was always something. Whether it's like, oh, you bow-legged or you this, you that, your voice is too damn deep. People got on my, especially about the voice. People really got on my fucking nerves. And I always dealt with that. So then coming out of the military, coming out of that environment, it always, don't fuck up. Make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and constantly getting your ass chewed. Coming out as a civilian, I had a lot of reasons to be angry. And then on top of that, even in the very beginning, when I became a civilian again, we still had the little struggle to go through. I mean, I was back in my mom's house, and then I was working. I was working for one security company. I actually got fired from that job, but that's a story for another day. But it really wasn't making anything. Then I took that trip to South Africa, and that's when I was exploring doing something different and teaching English as a foreign language. And then I found out that the VA was hiring for federal police, and I remember being an intern there back when I was a college student. So that's what I shot for. And then the reason why I got out of that damn field, not to go too deep into that, but I always had an issue with management, and I'm not really going to assume what it was or throw anything out there, but this build up of situations, professional, personal, whatever. I mean, that shit made me an angry person, and I still am angry. I mean, I know how to maintain it now. I think nowadays, I mean, and I think everybody does this. We all wear a mask, and I'm not talking about the fucking mask they tell you to wear for the pandemic. I mean, we all have a face under the face that you see. So mine is, I guess, a violent nature about things. Like I take things personal. I'm kind of direct. Is quick actions or whatever. And the stabbing incident didn't make me any better. It actually made me more heightened about situations with people. But it's a lot. And then, like I said, I don't know if I was diagnosed with PTSD. I wasn't diagnosed with PTSD, but I know I got a lot of anger issues, and I tend to relive a lot of situations. But that's not even just the military. That's just a combination of life experiences 33 years of living, and this is like, a lot of stuff is still in the back of my mind. I mean, situations that I probably should forget about, but haven't forgot. And I've always been one of those people that it's easier for me to remember the things that piss me off than the actual good things that happen. So, most people can tell you what they had for breakfast. I can't tell you what I had for breakfast. If I can tell you what genre style my third grade math teacher did that pissed me off, that's a problem, I guess. So, no, when after that stabbing incident or whatever, I never went through the whole thing of nightmares. I mean, I want to say after being injured for a little bit, when I first came back on duty as a police officer, I had an incident I was dealing with where two patients that got into an argument on one of the floors, and it was coming to blows. And basically, I got in between the two, but the situation itself kind of took me back to that moment of being stabbed in the bar. Like, you breathing hard, your adrenaline's kicking. It's like you know what to do, but you overthinking it or overreacting to it. I don't know. But I kind of lost control of the situation. So when that happened, I remember I told my supervisor at the time, about what I was going through, what I was feeling. Instead of actually being a damn decent supervisor, dude tries to throw me up under a bus, submits me for a psych evaluation, and is basically trying to get me unfit for duty. So I was going through that, and then after that situation, I was re-examining the whole my whole purpose in life because since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a cop. That's how I ended up in the army as an MP, and I guess that kind of came from being a kid in the '90s and watching all those action movies where the cops are always out there to get the bad guys. Of course, they ain't doing no damn paperwork. Nobody tells you about that. But they were always on the right side of the cause, and that's what drew me to the field. But after that little incident, for a little while, I had lost my confidence, and then I built it back up. I got over the incident for myself because I realized, like, no matter, I mean, it happened. I can't change that. Even if I'm still mad, if I was still mad at the guy or whatever, he ended up in a mental institution. But even for me being mad about it, I wasn't mad about the fact that I got injured or felt any less or anything. And it wasn't even really the only blow I had from that, the only PTSD moment was to sit up here and think that I've actually allowed myself to let somebody get the drop on me. That was the one thing that pissed me off the most. That made me the angriest because I've always been on top of my game and all that. And when you're in the military, you're damn near Superman. I mean, if you be in high speed, now the people always praising you on everybody's the same mentality, same mindset. You come back to being a civilian, things change. You know, people out here don't really have discipline. People living day to day, going through the daily struggles of life or whatnot. So now you're coming from this tempo of doing this, so now you're living like everybody else. So you're living like everybody else. You still keeping that tempo a little bit, but as the time goes on, it starts to die down. You find yourself getting involved in relationships. You find yourself being stressed out about bills or things with work. And then it's like, going out and dealing with people. It's just like you slowly ease out of that mindset. So then I run into this incident where that shit happened. And then I get into that whole mindset of like, wow, have I let myself get soft pretty much? Have I lost my edge or whatever? And as I gotten older, I sometimes think that. But my whole way of dealing with it is is this. I mean, I still maintain my anger, and you can even say rage at that point. But I kind of use it more in terms of strength. In other words, if I'm mad, I can power through anything. Nothing bothers me. Nothing gets to me. And the funny thing is, I guess some people kind of look to me and think that, in a sense, I am Superman. Or I can just get over anything. I can get through anything. In reality, I'm not. I mean, I don't let shit bother me because between the experiences in the military and then coming back to being a civilian and going through something like that incident and other things, and then even losing family members close to me, finding out that I've lost buddies and different things like that, people I've served with, and people hell that I've known over time and all that. It's just you learn to. For me, I've learned to just deal with it. I mean, I can sit there, shed tears, be sad, I can be mad, but I can't go back and change anything. And I think what it comes down to, me getting over that situation was me reconciling with it. Like, look, this is what happened. I can't change it. I just gotta live with it. I lost on that day. I'm still here. Take the L, learn from it, move on. But I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some days where I still will be thinking about that. Like, you know what? I can't wait till this dude gets out this institution because it's payback time. But I'm not gonna do anything to him. But nah. So and then even in the work aspect of where like being a cop is like you're constantly dealing with situations and whatnot. Everybody's experience varies. But even this was I got into the police department back in August of 2014, and then I left uh, toward the end of 2019 and transitioned over. So yeah, I was even to a certain degree. There were still things I was holding on to and mad about from that because I felt like you're on your way to doing something better and all that and getting better and all that. Why I got these people getting in my way? It's like I'm not trying to take a damn thing from you. Why are you taking from me? But you know, to each his own. So now here we are. What was it, July 2020? Dealing with a pandemic and dealing with civil unrest and a lot of craziness. And the other aspect of I can't say it's PTSD, maybe anger, rage, or whatnot. it's this whole thing that I come from a school of common sense. That was hammered into me as a kid by my mother. Um, the military instills discipline into you, but I think I had a level of discipline before I went in there. And my mom always said, use common sense, use common sense, use common sense. And most people go, what is common sense? Well, common sense is this. If you have to sit there and second guess something, like whether you should do it or not, that's common sense. You shouldn't. Don't do it. Plain and simple. If I know what the situation is, and you try to tell me a different story other than what I know, common sense, you lying. I mean, it's not. It doesn't have a real definition. It doesn't have a straightforward definition. But if you got common sense, you know what the hell it is. So, with that being said, um, I'm gonna get to doing the push-ups here in a second. The best thing I could tell anybody, and everybody has different situations of things that are traumatic to them, and this is not even just the military. I mean, people experience stuff outside of that, and nobody's situation, a person going through something and all that, for them, that is the worst time of their life. That is the worst situation they encounter. Doesn't mean my experiences are any better than theirs, or that my level of PTSD or anger or rage is it's not saying that my situation is more important than theirs. In other words, like everybody's situation is a big deal and treated as such. Uh, as far as how to deal with PTSD, I mean, it depends. I've always been in this mindset that when things happen, at some point in your life, you have to accept that it happened, whether you were right or wrong. I mean, the situation's done and over. If you can go back and apologize to somebody, if it was something that you did that was wrong, then do it. But if you can't, then like just take it as a learning experience and move on. Now, like I said, there are various levels of PTSD. I didn't say it before, but I mean, you got combat related. You got situations outside of military combat and even outside of law enforcement. I mean, not even just combat. Yeah, law enforcement, you deal with instances. You're constantly dealing with people when they're at their worst. I mean, let's be realistic. Nobody, when you go to a call, people aren't exactly doing well or making the right damn decisions. Even if you spot something without being called to it, you're catching people at their worst moments. And when you're doing that day in and day out, day in and day out, it starts to play on you. You're already probably holding on to stuff or dealing with things in your own life, but then you're making it part of your life to go and deal with other people's stuff. So that makes it worse. So then like me, I developed this, I'm kind of cynical. I mean, I'm learning to be more optimistic. But the thing is, I call the world for what it is. I mean, if I'm looking at something and I see that's what's going on and all that, I'm not going to sit up there and think it's any different. Then I'm not going to sit up there and say that the world is sunshine and rainbows. I mean, the world is horrible. I mean, that's how it is. I didn't make it. I was born into it like everybody else. I just suck it up and deal with the shit. Move forward. I'm not telling anybody to suck anything up or whatever. If you're dealing with a situation or something that's bothering you that you holding on to, I mean, all I can say is that you got to reconcile it the best way you can. And there are different services out there to help you with those things. But the thing is that if you feel like you're dealing with something out there, are you actually reaching out for that help? And are you actually getting that help? Like, are you actually looking for those resources? Or are you reaching out to people in similar circumstances that are dealing with that? And are you seeking something to make yourself better? And I think another thing, and I don't know if this really counts toward PTSD, but these kind of run hand in hand because you sometimes people dealing with PTSD usually take the suicidal route. And I can't tell anybody that I can sit there and say that, don't do this, you got a reason to live and all that. I don't know anybody's situation. We all have our level right now when we feel that we're ready to tap out of something or where something is getting to us. I'll even admit there has been points in my life where I contemplated suicide, and I'm not gonna kill myself or anything like that. I don't have a heart for that shit. But there's two main reasons why I don't do it. For one, is that I didn't give my life to myself. I mean, it was given to me. Where you say it's about my mom, where you say mom and dad, where you say it's about God. Bottom line is, I'm here for a reason. The other thing about it is that, especially in Bill's a prime example. You tend to have sometimes you have a positive impact in people's lives, whether it's something that you did for them, whether it's just your personality being around them, or just being a good friend and all that. There are people, if you really think about it, I don't know how many you interact with on a daily basis, but it's a good chance there's maybe one or two people looking up to you in your life. They look at you, and though they might not say it, they draw inspiration from you, whether you know it or not. And I've taken it to looking at it that way. And then on top of that, I got too many things left I want to do. That's why I'm annoyed with this pandemic because it's kind of putting a damper on certain things. But yeah, that's one way of looking at it. And then the other way of looking at it, looking at the stuff that I want to do or whatever, it's like, when I got out of the military, I was at a low point in my life. I'm starting over. I'm back in the place that I left originally, and I'm trying to make my way into the world. And the military, I'm not gonna say the military, but I think the retention NCOs, when they're trying to keep you in there, one of the things they tried to sell me on was that, oh, why are you getting out? Just stay in. This is the easiest job in the world. Right place, right time, right uniform. I'm not a person that likes being told what to do. I don't. And I'm like that these days, and it kind of plays into my anger a little bit. It's like I get mad about stuff because, for one, I don't like anybody being a boss of me or having control over me. It's not. I don't think it's anti-authority or anything like that. I think for me is that I've already done this thing of being indoctrinated, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, having people watch over me, and jump on and make sure I was squared away. I've lived that life. I don't need that nowadays. I don't need somebody to run up to me and tell me what to do when I already know what to do. So if I'm in the process of doing it, or if I'm out of my own business, I don't need you to remind me of that. I've been alive long enough. I got common sense. Obey the laws. So what the fuck are you talking about? But that's just me. So with that being said, I would encourage anyone who is dealing with any type of situation in life, and whether it's you dealing with PTSD and struggling with memories and struggling with situations that you dealt with in the past, or even if you're contemplating hurting yourself, reach out to somebody. I mean, there are people around you, even if it's not the closest people to you. Reach out to somebody else. There are too many resources nowadays, and we don't really talk about that too much because, for instance, I work for the VA. The VA has programs that help people that are dealing with PTSD. Now, the funny thing is when you talk about the VA, everybody always thinks of all the bad stuff they heard about it or their own experiences. And I'm gonna tell you right now, in the beginning, going to the VA, it was no picnic, but I was kind of wound up tight too. Like I went to my first appointment and had to get something done, and the doctor, or excuse me, the nurse, she said something to me, and I reacted to it. And I realized I was overreacting a little bit because I'm so used to that hurry up and wait and getting stuff done in the army that now I'm back in the civilian world. I don't realize the world doesn't really work like that. People work at their own pace, and especially if you're getting because if you're getting free service through the VA and all that, you really can't complain too much. I'm not saying anything bad about it. Don't take that the wrong way. Um, you just can't really get everything that you want. You have to you have to have patience. When you're dealing with anything in life, you have to have patience. So whether it's getting treatment or getting care, it doesn't happen, instantaneously. You got to be patient for it. And the thing is, you got to sometimes stay on top of people about getting things done. Um, Me personally, like I said, with my anger and rage, it's just I find different ways to channel it. Physical fitness, I kind of slowed down a little bit, trying to pick it back up, and this little push-up challenge kind of helps with that. But physical fitness, having hobbies. My hobby right now is customizing 118 scale figures. That's the GI Joe type figures. They're not that big. What I do, some of them I'll paint, do head swaps, create different characters. It's a creative outlet for me. And hell, at 33, I think at any age you need a creative outlet. If you don't have a hobby, my honest suggestion would be to find one. Find something that motivates you. Find something that you take joy in doing. Because if you're just going through that whole process, especially if you're dealing with PTSD, if you're going through the whole process of getting up every day, going to work, coming back home, and doing that daily, and then hell, if you actually substitute that with going out and drinking, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really are. And alcohol is a depressant. I gave up, and the funny thing is, I don't really talk about this because, especially on Facebook, if you ever see any of my posts, I always make jokes about bourbon and coke. I used to anyway, because I used to drink bourbon, drink a choice, and I picked up drinking in the military, but I cut that stuff out. I mean, it wasn't something I really had to consciously think about. Just something I did. It's just like I don't like the way I feel when I do this. It's not helping me with anything, and on top of that, you wasting money. So to substitute the time that I would spend going out to a bar or even dealing with people that I probably shouldn't have been dealing with, I found other things to do with my time because the only thing you have is time, and your time is precious. I don't care what nobody tells you. If you're alive right now, you got plenty of time. It's just a matter of how you dedicate that time. Because if you don't find something to fill it, something decent that'll help you to cope with life or to get through it and all that, then basically, and this is just my opinion, if you can't find something to cope or whatever, you can't find things that you enjoy doing, you're wasting time. Yeah, straight up. The other thing I've been doing since this pandemic is that I got myself back into school. I mean, I got a GI Bill. They gave me the benefit for a reason. I want to get further in life, so why sit there and waste it? Just use it. And for anybody in that boat that's contemplating whether you want to go back to school or there's something you want to do, I mean, well, here's some of the myths. A lot of people, especially my age, where they say, "Oh, I don't get the patience. I can't really sit in class, or I'm not smart enough, or whatever." You know, if you were smart enough to get into the military and do a job, if you're enough to handle your business, which is getting up, going to work, paying your bills, helping other people if you do, or whatever else you do, then you're smart enough to sit in the classroom and do that. And it's not really that difficult. The only thing is picking a major, which can be a pain in the ass, and actually dedicating that time to actually studying it. And it sucks. It does. It's easy, but it's not easy. It's easy to sit there and read through the information and try and accomplish the task at hand. But at the same time, it's not really easy because most of the time when you're doing courses, you're doing stuff you really don't want to be doing. I hate math, and I gotta soon do a statistics class for non I forget what the major is, but it's a statistics class for everybody. I'm eventually going to have to sign up for, but it's a new program. It's supposed to be a little something. Deals with basic arithmetic. I can do that. But I fucking hated algebra, and that was my biggest fear about going to school. That's what stopped me before I got in the military. When I was in college, I was doing algebra, could not stand it, and that stemmed from high school. So I just said, you know what? If they get kicked out, I'm just gonna drop out and continue on about my business. So that's how that played out for me. But now here I am, 33 years old, back in school. But yeah, that's the most I could say on PTSD. What I'll end up doing, because this is a 25-day challenge, and this is day one of this. What I'll probably end up doing is that each video I make, I'll probably doing the push-ups. I'll probably try to come up with some information or say something that's of value. And if you're watching this video, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, hopefully you draw some inspiration from it. Hopefully I've actually said something to make you feel better or help you get through the day. But just know that if you are dealing with PTSD or suicidal thoughts, any issue with that, you're not alone. Don't ever think. If you know me, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to other people. There's plenty of people to reach out to. But no, it's just you only got one life to live. Hang in there. If you got to take certain steps to cope, take those steps. If there are opportunities being presented to you for you to get better or whatever, take those opportunities and realize that it's not a one and done situation. It takes time. It does, but you got to have patience. And especially if you're married, you got kids and all that. No matter how you feel, and just realize, even whether it's being married or having children or other family members or friends, at the end of the day, you do have people counting on you, whether they say so or not. Sometimes they ask you for help, sometimes they won't, sometimes they waiting on you to notice that they need it, but somebody's counting on you. And even if you don't have anybody counting on you, then guess what? You're counting on yourself. That that's as true as it gets. If you don't have anybody in your life and it's just you, the most important person in your life at that moment is you. You got to be willing to take care of you because nobody else is going to do it. So, all right, with that being said, it's time for me to get to the push up portion of this. So, here we go. All right, so if you're still watching this damn point, I haven't done push ups in a while, so forgive me if I'm a little bit off, but 25. All right, here we go. There you go. 25. So, till the next time, folks, take care. Take care of each other. Peace.